Hello, everyone. Welcome to AgricTech Founders Diary, powered by AgricTech Digest. I'm your host, Kenneth Obayuana. Today, we are diving into a major shift in agriculture, one that is literally turning farmers upright, controlling controlled environment agriculture, vertical farm, indoors production system. They are changing what we eat and how we grow what we eat. So that's what we'll be looking at in today's conversation. And but joining me in the studio today is Rick. He's the founder and the CEO of GoPura. I hope I get that correctly. GoPura. A leader in the vertical farming space. Rick has been in the forefront of designing systems that bring production closer to consumers, reduce waste, increase yield, and rethink food supply chain entirely. If you are curious about the future of food, urban farming, or how technology is changing agriculture at scale, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Once again, welcome to the studio. Thank you very much for joining us today, Rick.
Kenneth, it's great to meet you finally. We've had some struggles getting
Yeah,
some.
yeah. It's been a struggle getting into the studio, network issues and everything, but today we finally have been able to have this session.
Understand, but let's get one thing very clear very quickly. The
Yes.
name of my company is
Yes.
Harvest Today.
Oh,
I have
okay.
no idea what you were just saying there, but I think it's okay because you can see it's
Okay.
on my card, it's on my shirt, it,
Yeah.
it's on my hat, it's
Okay.
everywhere. The name
Yeah.
of the company is Harvest Today because just like you were saying, we're here to impact how we not only grow food, but how
Yeah.
we view how we harvest it and eat it because processed food is my why. I want to teach the world, Kenneth,
Yeah.
that fresh is best. There's no processed, no bagging, no cans, no nothing. The fresher we can eat our food, the better. And certainly here in America, with the absolute pandemic of obesity and diabetes, right? If we don't figure out how to eat better, we're just gonna die, right? And part of the problem is people just don't understand that, Kenneth, we need to harvest today, okay? Which means we need to put a little bit more attention into how we eat and how we actually grow our food. So the mission of my company has been since we started was to teach people you can grow yourself. It's easy. It's actually kind of fun. We're impacting communities with not only better health and better food, but we're also impacting prison populations. We're impacting schools. We're impacting senior citizens, senior living facilities. People are regenerated, like they're just happy when you're around foods, right? Or around plants, right?
Yeah.
Well, the harvest wall is completely scalable. That's how I built it. That's how it kind of came out of my brain was I can get people growing food, but I can make it so you can put it in your kitchen. The harvest wall for home. That's on our website right now. You can buy it here in America for $799. That is commercial grade hydroponic-esque growing equipment. I just returned from Kuala Lumpur working with our friends at Agros. That exact type of the equipment
So
is being built for their farm. Kenneth, it's 900,000 plant ports. The
so
same stuff.
what inspired you to start Harvest today? Let's start from there. What inspired you to start Harvest today?
I've been an adventurer my whole life. Okay.
Mhm.
I am a Canadian. I am a Canadian living in America. Okay.
Mhm.
And when I actually learned how to sail. My dad was from Nova Scotia, from the Atlantic side of Canada, and he always encouraged me to be a sailor. So Harvest Today is my third company. Okay, so I have this is not my first row. I've done this. This is the third one. But my second company was indeed a large electronics company. I sold it, and my wife and I decided it was time to go in and do an adventure before we got too old. So I did go sailing for 5 years. Okay, so we tapped out. We went and had some fun. It was during that 5-year adventure I actually lived food insecurity. I saw people, we were in places where you were forced to buy processed food. You were forced, there was no access. There was no access to fresh food. Now, could you buy fruit like papaya or mangoes or stuff like that? The answer is yes, but you can't live on that stuff. It's too much sugar, right? So one of the things that when I came back, I said, we need to help or enable humanity to grow leafy greens and herbs so you can eat better. So now today we actually harvested some of the produce that's here in the office, and I got to tell you, this Mizuna lettuce that we have, it's unbelievable. Like, it is so good, right? You cannot buy that in a store. You just can't. They don't exist. It just doesn't exist, right? But I can grow it all day long, and I can grow it for you in your own harvest wall. That's what motivated me to start this company.
So what's Harvest Today is a vertical farm, if I understand clearly, right?
Clearly a vertical farm, yes.
What do you use in producing your food? Is it water? Is it? I know there are different kind of vertical farming. So run us through what you're using. How you farm today at Harvest Today? Yeah. So what do you guys produce?
The harvest wall system is interchangeable with the panels. So we have harvest panels. Those panels can be different ports. So now, if you have the basics of a farm, you could have a 50 millimeter port that is super good for growing lettuces, lots of herbs, crops like that. We have a 125 millimeter port. That 125 millimeter port can grow tomatoes, cucumbers, strawberries, peppers, crops like that. And again, it's very determined by the varieties that you're growing. Okay, so you want to grow what's called determinate varieties of vining crops. You don't want to have, like, for example, tomato crops that grow, 10 meters long, right? Some a really well-grown tomato plant could grow as long as 10 meters long, right? Well, that's called an indeterminate. In other words, they just keep growing.
Yeah.
So we are coming out with the third port, which will be yet to be exactly determined. We're playing around with it right now, but it will be designed for indeterminate varieties of cucumbers, peppers, and mostly tomatoes, right? So again, if you've got a harvest farm system like we do, we build frames. Those frames accept a panel. That panel can now be a whole variety. So we're not monocropping, or if you embrace the way we build a farm, we will give you crop variety and flexibility with your basic investment of a farm. You're not stuck with one crop, because a lot of the vertical farms that are struggling financially are huge monocrops, right? So as we approach both indigenous communities, faith-based communities, all those types of different organizations that want to start growing, Harvest Today is indeed a phenomenal choice for propagation equipment.
Okay. So it's more like you deal on vertical farming equipment.
The other way I also say it, Kenneth, is Harvest Today, We're a bunch of plastics engineers.
Okay.
This is what we are, right? But we grow great. I'm a farmer. I grew up on a farm in Western Canada, right? We are also great farmers, right? So you take that, and I spent 25 years in my electronics company. That 25 years in my electronics company allowed me to understand process, electronics, electrical, molding techniques, molding size, scale, and basically supply chain things that can actually make these beautiful reusable pieces of equipment. Like, the stuff that's at my house we've been growing with it now for almost 5 years. Kenneth, it looks like it's brand new. I actually I did a deep clean on the weekend, and it looks like it's brand new. And that's what it's supposed. It'll last decades.
Nice. I mean, that's so fantastic work you're doing over there. So, but it's one thing to imagine vertical farming; it's another thing to understand what are becoming necessary, right? But let me ask you, as a follow-up question to that, how does a controlled environment farm differ from a traditional farm?
Well, traditional farms are outdoors. Is that what
Yeah.
you're asking?
So what's the difference apart from the outdoor farming? Like, okay, traditional farming is the farm outdoor, vertical farm probably controlled environment. Apart from that difference that is well known, is there another particular difference that you think people doesn't understand? What's the key difference apart from the outdoor and the indoor farming control? So is there any other difference between both farming?
You're asking me a huge question. Okay, you know that, right?
Yes, I know.
It's huge. So let me come at you a couple different ways. Number one, how does Harvest Today define ourselves in the controlled environment space?
Okay. Yes.
Farm to farm. Well, we are not hydroponic only. One of the things, if somebody, if we have a NFT ebb and flow raft, they're all pure water. They require seeds, rooting, and water to be physically flowing in order for the plants to stay alive. 100% running plants or running pumps 24/7. And also, there's no rooted medium. They're basically grown in things like rock wool, okay, or oasis bricks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to do it better? Well, I would suggest there is, and that's the way Harvest Today does it. So we actually grow in peat cups or in net cups. That net cup has a pellet, like a Jiffy pellet. That Jiffy pellet.
I'm here. Don't worry. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
I know you're messing with stuff, and it throws me off. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. The ability to grow a microbiome is the basis in which that's what differentiates the harvest wall from all other hydroponic systems. We only irrigate our plants 3 or 4 times a day, right? We're not consuming a lot of electricity. We let the plants physically grow roots in a medium. That medium allows for the exchange of nutrients and air, super important, right? That allows a plant to have really good root structure. That root structure actually stays in the peat cup or in the net cup. That allows the flavonoids of the plant to be expressed in the material that we physically eat as human beings. So if you see somebody bragging about this great big ponytail of roots, all you can say is, oh, that's super bad, or oh, that's sad, because that root has continued to grow looking for more information. They weren't getting what they needed, right? Now, because the ability to Grow a better plant is what the harvest wall is all about, and we do. You can taste it in the flavor. I've actually had people. I don't know, what do you call arugula?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Arugula. Do you know the plant arugula?
Oh, no, no.
Okay. You know the
Yeah.
plant? Do you know the salad called a rocket salad?
Salad, I know salad.
Well, of course, salads. Everybody eats salads, Ken.
But
Come on.
salad, yes.
Expand your brain here a little bit. Yeah, you're a little cloistered here. Okay. Um, rocket salad. If you're in Australia, you're in Southeast Asia. There's a bunch of different ways we can actually think about how we construct a salad. But we also have this thing called arugula here in North America. Arugula is part of the genus of mustard seeds. Okay. There are also some of them on the Brachus. That's a plant that actually expresses a really peppery, spicy green leaf. Okay. Well, I've had people literally spit it out. It's great. It's because we can grow it so good. So good. Yeah. It's great.
So, but let me ask you on that question now. Thank you very much for giving us that explanation, right? For taking us through that journey now. But let me ask you on that question. What's the biggest challenge in scaling vertical farming?
Money.
Funds.
People talk about it all the time. Nobody's willing to invest in it. No, people are. I'm serious. People are absolutely addicted to convenience. They think opening up a can or opening up a bag is basically food. It's not. It's a bunch of trash filled with preservatives. It's filled with color for the sake of it's got to look pretty. I don't care what it looks like. I want to know, is it good for my body? And does it nourish my body in order to thrive? How about this one, Kenneth? Does it feed my brain? Right? Feed my brain. I want to feed my brain with food that doesn't clog it up with all the preservatives that everybody eats. Do you eat fast food? Do you go to McDonald's?
Yes, I go to the McDonald's. Yes, I know McDonald's. Yes.
Stop it. Stop it right now. It's the worst. It's all about their process. It's not about you. You know, you can have one of their burgers. Did you know the glycemic index of a white piece of bread is more than a quarter cup of white sugar? It's terrible for you. Terrible. Right? Okay, here's your next skill testing question. How old do you think I am?
I really don't know, really.
I'm filled with energy, right? I can outrun, outlift anybody that's my age.
Of course, I understand. I understand. So now, based on what you've said now, do you think
You didn't answer the question.
I mean, I'm not a good guess. I'm not good. But based on what you've said now, do you think vertical farming, the food they produce is healthy? Because some people also have worries, like you've talked about McDonald's and the other company, right? Other people also have worries about the food coming out for vertical farming. They say these chemicals is not normal soil. You know, people have reasons to also have that the food produced by vertical farmers. So what's your take about that?
Well, I would suggest that it's about fresh, right? Fresh is best.
Fresh. Yeah, but it's not like a traditional farming that you soil.
No, but it's a different. You're asking me the wrong question. Because you say about traditional farm, of course, the problem with traditional farm is that the soil is dying no matter what, no matter where you go, no matter what continent you're on. And my camera's going to
yeah.
But there it is. It's back. The problem is the soil is dying.
Yes.
Our water is, up and down all over the world. We're about to go down to Salida tomorrow, and it's tinder dry. They have no water, no crops there this year, right? So of course, you think those farms are going to have any crops this year? You think their cattle are grazing nice? No, they're not. They're struggling. Those farms they're going to have a hard year, really hard year. The whole point of indoor growing and indoor farming in general, globally, is to stabilize food supply. stabilize it. Okay. Now we take the growth of what we can do indoors. Do we use the same amount of water? No, we don't. Why? It's because we recycle it. We don't have to worry about drainage, right? We can irrigate with pivot irrigation all day long. The problem is we're using absolutely inches of it's called acre feet of water, and it just runs off and it's go down to the next trout's pond, right? The problem is it's not being used for the growth of food. I can not only do that, I can dehumidify the indoor side inside of a building, and I take the humidity that's taken out of the air and I put it back in the plants. Of course, if I'm efficient in how I run my farm, I can use 95% less if we compare to pivot irrigation and that type of that type of irrigation for outdoor farming. I don't have to worry about losing my crop because of a storm or a tornado. My wife tried to grow tomatoes this year. We lost them all, 100%. We have some big storms coming through, gone, right?
So,
Zero tomatoes from
so the soil, you believe the soil is not, the soil was what was affecting them, right?
No.
What's
bad weather, right?
that?
You asked me about the contrast between controlled environment
Yeah.
and traditional ag.
Yes.
I grew up on a traditional farm. I've been there. I've watched hay rot in the field. Why? Because I couldn't drive my tractor out in the field because we got so much rain right after we cut it, right? Well, I don't have to worry about that in a controlled environment farm, right? It's about consistency, and we can deliver that. Right now, we do have a small, and it's not an experiment. We just do it for the sake of actually, we donate a lot of food to the food bank that's here in Broomfield. One of the things that we love to say is that I can take this farm that's here, I can turn it 14 times a year. 14, not one crop. I can do 14 crops. Now I can produce some food.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really good. But lastly, as we begin to wrap up this conversation for tonight or for today, what will be your biggest advice, or what's that one advice for any agritech founders who wants to come into the space? What's like your most important thing for them to consider if they want to build solutions in the vertical farming space? What's like the most important thing any agritech founders or any agritech personalities who want to come into the vertical farming space, what's the most important thing they should consider?
Learn how to grow one plant at a time. It's not about scale. It's about understanding the dynamics of growing the plant. It is not about tech. Now, can we use tech to grow our growing technology and ability to grow food? Absolutely. We use interfaces. We use DLI calculators. We use par meters. You name it, we use it all the time in order to improve our craft as farmers. Learn how to grow a plant first, then figure out your market and figure out who you're going to sell it to before you grow it, right? Because I see so many people, they end up, I've heard of so many farms, they're busy donating all their food to their local zoos, right? Because they haven't figured out how to sell their food first, right?
Yeah.
We're working with a wonderful gentleman down in Texas, and I know he's absolutely going to succeed because he's already signed a contract with a school district, and all of the food will easily be consumed by the school district for school lunch programs.
Amazing.
That's being successful as a controlled environment farmer.
Great. So what's your last word or your last advice for anybody listening to us tonight?
Contact Harvest today, because I think we do it the best.
Oh, great.
Well, yes. Well, no, I've actually had somebody, tell me that this week. They said they've never met anybody who can grow plants as good as we can, but I have addressed the dynamics of a farm. It's not about the space. The biggest cost of a farm, Kenneth, it's not the propagation equipment. It's the building. It's either the greenhouse or the building you choose to grow in. Okay? Figure that out first. If you address that with scale, now you can be successful. I guarantee you, I've got examples of people using our equipment is because we calculate plants per cubic foot, not per square foot. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I see. Amazing. Thank you very much, guys. So this is the part where ideas become actions to our listeners. It's been a pleasure having you today in the studio with us. Thank you for painting a clear picture of the vertical revolution and for showing that our food systems are not stopped in the feed anymore. Yes, they are not stuck in the feed anymore.
Thanks, Kenneth. It's been great.
They are fully arranged layer by layer.
Yeah.
To our listeners, if you are working on innovation in agri-tech, whether vertical farming, controlled environment, supply chain, or new model, let's tell your story. Fill out the guest intent form in our show description. You can watch this episode and more on Spotify and Amazon podcasts. For updates beyond the scenes and resources, visit agritechdigest.com and follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and all of our social media platforms. Until next time, keep building, keep going, and keep revolutionizing how we feed the future. Thank you all for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thank you very much for joining. Yes, thank you very much.